One of the things we tried to establish last week was that Apostle Paul was speaking in First Corinthians chapter 12. First Corinthians 12, if we can quickly look at that, just as a reminder of last week, so we can progress from that. Apostle Paul was speaking in First Corinthians chapter 12 from verse 1, sorry. He says, "Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant." Perfect. What Paul was saying was that everyone that is a believer should understand that ignorance on spiritual matters, it is not to anyone's benefit. When one is ignorant of spiritual matter, what that means is that you will be cheated of what life ought to have given you and what you ought to have given life. That's what Paul was saying. So he was warning the church that we should not be ignorant of spiritual things. I think that's where we began our teachings from last week, and we began to build on that case. Then I found the need to bring us to a reality of the Spirit, where I said that there are three components that forms a man. What makes you a man is not because you are alive. What makes you a man is not because you can speak. What makes you a man is because in you, three things came together. Every time these three things comes together, what it creates is called man. So man is not, you cannot define a man by calling man a spirit. You cannot define a man by saying a man has a soul. Neither can you define a man by saying a man has a body. Okay, so if you are to the definition of a man is a being that has a spirit, that has a soul, and has a body. When you have these three things active in you, when these three components comes together, what then it produces is what we call man. Then I also began to talk about that all those three compartments that makes for man has the purpose for which these three things comes together is because they can contact realms. Each of those three things have the ability to communicate, but in different realms. Okay, please let us catch it tonight, so the Lord will help us. So these three things that makes a man, the soul of a man. The soul of a man speaks of the intelligence, the mind of a man. The mind of a man is what you call the soul of a man. The intelligence of a man is what you call the soul of the man. Then we have the body. So by the soul, a man is able to contact knowledge. That means that the means for communication when it comes to knowledge, it is the soul that can reach that realm. And when it comes to earthly things, physical things, it is a man's body that can communicate with that realm. That means that the reason for which you have a body is to contact physical things. That's why when you get a job, you need your hands to work. You need your feet to work. You need your eyes to work. That is why you have a body. So your body primarily is a tool for communicating with physical things. Then of course you have the spirit. The spirit is what you use in communicating with spiritual matters or with spirit. So it is for this reason that we say a man has a soul, spirit, and body. But one of the things we face in our dispensation is the fact that as human beings, even though by default you all have those three compartments, unfortunately, only a few amongst men can adequately utilize these three compartments. So if you fail in any of them, if any of them is not functioning optimally in your life, it therefore means that there will be deficiency in production. What you ought to deliver will be shortchanged. There will be a limitation in your progress. Meaning there will be a struggle somewhere, there will be a conflict somewhere on account of the malfunction or the absence of one of these components that makes a man. I'll give you an example. You will find people who are very spiritual. You find people who are very in church. They pray, they fast, they do all sorts. But then you ask yourself, why is this person not financially progressive? Or why is this business? Why are the things that he involves in, profession, career, or whatever the case may be, why are there no notable progress in all of that? What that explains to you is that part of the component that makes this person a man, one of it is not functional. And because that is not functional, it doesn't stop the man from existing, but what it affects, it is the productivity of the man. So if the contact point for physical things is a body, then this man becomes sick. On account of the sickness, this man cannot operate maximally as expected by his creator. So there will be deficiency in the production of this man. Then when it comes to business, job, and all of that, it takes the soul. The soul becomes the contact point for which knowledge is acquired. Because if you are not informed as a businessman or as a career man, leadership, in any of the categories in life, if you are not informed in the field that you find yourself, what happens is that even though you pray very well, even though you're a very righteous man, that deficiency in your soul will affect your general productivity. Because the way a man is designed, a man can adequately function when those three components are active in that man. That is when you have a productive man. So the apostle will say that, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper, even as your soul prospereth. So what he's talking about here is that as you seek for prosperity, as you seek for a blessing, this blessing can only be transmitted to you when there is adequate performance in all aspects of what makes you a man. So that means that man, the soul of this man must be educated. In whatever you are doing, your soul needs to be at the top of it. So you hear Apostle Paul say things like, he says, study hard to show yourself approved of the Lord, a workman that needed not to be ashamed in rightly dividing the word of truth. So that means that Paul acknowledges that your soul must be fed. Your soul must be adequately trained for you to be productive when it comes to mental development. Okay, so tonight we want to look at the spirit of man, which is, so in the hierarchy of things, in the order of things, the spirit of a man forms, or he sits at the highest. So if you have to draw a graph, or you have to do an organigram of how this functionality should be, or how this compartment should be positioned, the spirit forms the highest in this hierarchy. After the spirit, you have the soul, then you have the body. The body becomes, or the body is at the bottom of this ranking. So Paul made a statement which I want us to read quickly from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse. It was a conclusive statement he made there, and as Christians it's important that we draw reference from that, because he was not the first to say it. You know what he says in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse 14. It says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. That's number one. Number 15 of verse 15 is where we're really going. It says, but he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. That speaks of the hierarchy of the spirit of a man. That means that your highest position in terms of your deliverables, in terms of your operation, in terms of your existence, the highest you can get, the order in which God created us is to function at their highest capacity function from the highest capacity, which is the spirit of a man. Now, if a believer does not understand this hierarchy, he would not pay attention to his spirit. And because of that, the spirit that God has given you and I would not be able to justify the fact that we have been blessed by God. In Ephesians chapter 1 from verse 3, the Bible says that God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in the heavenly places. That's what the Bible acknowledges, that we have been blessed by God. But this blessing, it's in a realm where the means through which we contact that blessing is by the Spirit. It is not by our intelligence, meaning not by our soul. It is not by our body. So no matter how healthy you are, no matter how fit you are, if you are to access this blessing spoken of by God, you cannot contact this blessing using your body. It will be fruitless. Neither can you do so by being a professor. It will be fruitless. The Bible is saying that the only means by which you can contact that blessing that God has given you, not the one God is going to give you, the one He has given you, it is through your spirit. How so? Now, you will hear Paul in the same 1 Corinthians, you will hear Paul make certain acknowledgement. He said, 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse 10, he says that the Spirit of God searcheth all things. He said, yea, the deep things of God. That's what Paul said. That means this spiritual blessing that we speak of, it is only accessible by us using our spirit. Any attempt to receive what God has given you apart from your spirit will be fruitless, because this order was given and designed by God. Please, I'd like us to just follow. Okay? Ephesians 1:3 says that God has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in the heavenly places. So he spoke of a location, he spoke of a blessing. Now he said the blessing is hidden in the location which is in the realm of the spirit. It is not physical. So because it's not physical, the use of your soul is fruitless. Because it's not physical, the use of your body is fruitless. So if you are to use any of this contact point to reach this blessing, it has to be by your spirit. So Paul now brought us to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse 10. He said, it is the Spirit of God that searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. That means it is by that Spirit. If it is in God, if it is hidden in the realm of the Spirit, it is by a spirit or by your spirit you are able to reach that. But Paul was telling us the order by which it works with God. He says that no man know the heart of God, but the Spirit of God. Then he now brought it to man. He said, just like man too, concerning the deep things of a man, no man knoweth them except the spirit of that man. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse 11 down spoke of the search. The search machine is the spirit in a man. Now, if you later read Proverbs chapter 20 from verse 27, the Bible says the spirit of a man is a searchlight in the hands of God. That's what the Bible says. That means that this location wherein we are blessed, this location where spiritual things are kept, the only means of accessing it is by the spirit of that man. So if the spirit of the man, if it's not well educated, or it's not well built, or it's not well nurtured, the man will have everything that the flesh can give, the body can give, meaning the man will be healthy, no trace of sickness, 100% certified healthy. The man will be very educated. This man may hold the highest level of what education can offer. But this man would not be complete, because what makes him a man in the first place, it is the fact that he has a body, he has a soul, and he has a spirit. So anytime one of these components is not active, what you find is that you find a man that is not, that his results or his deliverables will be deficient on account of one of the components that is not functional. That's why you will notice that a man can be very spiritual. He speaks to God. He speaks to angels.